We have just arrived in the Scottish Highlands and we are on our way to explore the Cairngorms National Park. It's the UK's largest national park, covering over 4,500 square kilometres, and a destination we've been really looking forward to immersing ourselves in for such a long time, and hopefully picking out some really good accessible things to show you guys as well. But right now we're going to get back on the road because we got a campsite to find. We have just checked in and we have arrived at Lenmore campsite, which is right on the edge of Loch We've been assigned a pitch in the forest area, so we're really looking forward to finding it and getting set up. So there's an Adventure Wheels top tip here for you. Sometimes we're on pitches which are slightly uneven, so when we put our ramps down it wobbles as Karla will go up it in her wheelchair. So we've just learnt to bring a door wedge, a door stop, pop it under the side of the ramp which is uneven, and it stops it moving about as you go up it. We are all set up at Lenmore camping and we've just enjoyed a lovely dinner sat underneath the canopy. We can just about see the loch from our pitch, so we've taken a little after dinner walk to go and have a closer look, and it's such a beautiful spot. A loch with a beach is just incredible. But we're going to go back for an early night now after quite a long day on the road, and then we will look forward to heading out and exploring more tomorrow, and also showing you a bit more of the campsite. It is our first day here in the Highlands and we're going to take a drive out to find the Snow Roads, which is a 90-mile route right through the heart of the Cairngorm National Park. There is a number of viewpoints and art installations along the route, so it should be a really nice drive, and it will also take us along the highest road in the UK. But before we leave, we just wanted to show you a few clips of the campsite here at Lenmore Camping. It's a really big site and it's fully booked whilst we've been here at the end of June, so do make a reservation in advance if you're planning to visit. We had a lovely warm welcome from the site staff who told us that there's a cafe and a bar in walking distance, and also there's 2 large facility blocks on site. We paid a little bit extra to be on a forest pitch, which is in a lovely area of the site, nice and quiet and much closer to Loch We can just about make out the water from the caravan windows where we're pitched, and it's been so nice just to pop out and have a little walk down to the water. There's also a bus stop right outside the entrance of the site, but long-term Adventure Wheels followers will probably know that me and Karla are absolutely useless at getting public transport. From the moment we left the main road and started driving into Aviemore, this whole area has such a holiday resort feel to it, and there is so much to do in the area, and there's so much we're going to do whilst we're here. So all of that is to come, but right now we're going to jump in the car and find the Snow Roads. We've just made it to our first stop off along the Snow Roads, which is a viewpoint and an art installation. Turns out it's up the side of a massive hill, so we're just walking up to have a look. So this first art installation is called Still, and it has a fantastic viewpoint looking down over Tomator, which is the next town, and the River Avon down below. It was apparently built using leftover spoils from the quarry that we've just walked through. I'm not really sure why it's called still. Maybe it just makes you stand still and look at the amazing view, or maybe because it was there yesterday and it's still there today, and it still might be here if you come and visit as well. Anyway, back down to the car now, and we're going to head on to our next destination along the snow roads. So that next art installation was called The Watchers, with a tremendous view looking down across the valley. Apparently they're supposed to mimic the standing stones that you find quite often across Scotland. Anyway, onwards now to the Cairngorm Pass, which is apparently the highest road in the UK at nearly 2,200 feet high. So there we go, we've just made it to the summit of the Cairngorm Pass, and at the top sits the Glenshee Ski Centre, which is Scotland's oldest and also Scotland's largest ski centre. It looks like we're pretty much at the highest point of the UK's highest road. The sat-nav's showing that we're just under 2,200 feet. The Cairngorm Pass was originally built in the 1750s, and it was used as a drover's route to take cattle and sheep to market in between the Highlands and the Lowlands of Scotland, and nowadays it's just an absolutely spectacular drive to do. Anyway, onwards now, as we've got one more point of interest to do along the snow roads. We've just made it to Devil's Elbow and the Connecting Contours viewpoint, and this marks the southern end of the Snow Roads route. The Devil's Elbow was apparently a double hairpin bend of the original route, but back in the 1960s it was bypassed and straightened out because it being the Devil's Elbow was apparently so steep and so dangerous that no one really enjoyed driving down it. Today has been such an amazing drive, and we actually nearly didn't come to drive the snow roads. The first part where we stopped off was about 45 minutes away from the campsite, and due to the geography of the landscape we're actually the other side of the Cairngorms mountain range now to where the campsite is, so I think we've got about an hour and a half to drive back. But seeing a landscape like this just totally makes it worth it, and yeah, just miles and miles and miles of stunning scenery. So if you're ever in this area, then we definitely would recommend driving the snow roads. But onwards now, because on our drive back to the campsite there's another place that we really want to visit. So there we go, an hour and a half later we are just arriving at our final stop of the day, the centre of Scotland. So the massive rock behind us marks the centre of Scotland. Apparently it weighs 5 tons and it was placed there to represent the centre point in Scotland. Apparently there are different methods of determining where the centre point actually is, so it is a little bit debated as to whether or not this is the point or not. That does bring us to the end of our driving tour today through the snow roads, and that was such a great way to get a first impression of the landscape, and if that's a taste of what to come, then we're really looking forward to it. Anyway, back to the caravan now for a good night's sleep, and then we'll be back out exploring tomorrow. We are heading back out today to explore the Highland Folk Museum, which should give us a really interesting insight into what life was like in the Highlands from maybe about the 1700s onwards. But last night after we got back from that drive, it was about 10:15 and we just wanted a bit of fresh air, so we took a little walk down to the loch. We just sat there and it was such a beautiful place to be, and I haven't been so relaxed in such a long time. Absolutely love it here. It's such an amazing campsite. But anyway, let's get cracking and we'll go and find this museum. So an absolute highlight of the Highland Folk Museum for us was the old township, a village that they rebuilt exactly as it would have been in the 1730s. Karla was saying how interesting it was to see how life was so much different back then to what it is now. We also got talking to one of the staff members who worked here, Gordon. He could speak for Scotland, but everything he was saying was just so fascinating, and he really brought the place to life. The museum is actually about a mile long in length, so there is quite a bit of walking to do, and the walk to the township took a little while, but definitely worth doing. Wow, that was absolutely amazing. Such a good museum to come to, and also really good for the first time to see some proper Highland cows. We also found out a little bit more about them, which is that they have a really thick furry coat so they can withstand the weather up here. Nowadays they're sort of used more for show than anything else, but yeah, great that they were here for us to see. I didn't actually realise until we arrived here that the Cairngorm mountain is only 10 minutes further past the campsite. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to try and catch the funicular railway all the way up to the top. So we've made it to the top of the Cairngorm mountain, and we've just had an amazing lunch in what is the UK's highest restaurant at just over 3,500 feet. The views from the top are absolutely spectacular. In terms of accessibility, absolutely brilliant, cannot fault it at all. It was so easy to get on the train and around the visitor centre up here as well. So top marks from us in terms of access. But yeah, we're just going to admire these views for a little bit more and then we'll start heading back down again on the train. We've just made it back to the car and it's literally just started raining. It's really hard to believe that this whole area in the winter months would be completely covered in snow when we're here in summer. But what a brilliant day that was. Just one final Adventure Wheels top tip for you. If you do come here, I suppose at any time of year, just bear in mind that when you get up to the top, it is so much higher and it's absolutely freezing. It's about 20 Celsius down here at the moment, but when we got up to the top, Karla says it was about 5 Celsius when she looked on the website earlier. So definitely worth packing your coats and warm weather gear if you're going to head up there for a bit. It is our last full day here in the Cairngorms, and we're going to make the most of it by picking up one of the many walking routes which you can do directly from the campsite. But first we're going to cross the road, where directly opposite the entrance of the campsite is the Glenmore Visitor Centre, and then we'll go from there. So we've just left the visitor centre and we've picked up the Rivone Trail, which is marked along blue on the map. It leads us to Lochan Uaine, which is supposed to be an enchanted green colour. The whole route is supposed to be about 3.5 mile round trip, but from what we hear it's well worth going to see. So we made it to the loch, and it's actually just started to rain a little bit, but this loch is nicknamed the Green Loch, or home of the fairies, and legend has it that the emerald green colour of the water comes from when the fairies wash their clothes at night. I don't know why they don't just use the laundrette in the village, but it's a nice little magical tale anyway. The path down here was so good for accessibility. There was a few parts of the path that were a little bit rocky, but generally speaking it was a really flat, smooth path, and Karla's wheelchair managed absolutely fine. And we found ourselves on a really nice little viewing platform, so although she can't get right down to the water side, you can still look down from the viewpoint here, and yeah, just such a stunning, such a beautiful, tranquil spot to be in. Anyway, we better start walking back to the campsite before this rain gets any worse. It is such a beautiful evening here in Scotland, and we've just been down to the loch for one last time to reflect on what has been another amazing caravan adventure. Karla was saying earlier how we get to go to all these amazing places and do all these things, but the Cairngorms National Park is one of those places that we just want to keep coming back to. It's going to be very sad to hitch up and leave here tomorrow, but it's been a brilliant trip. The UK's largest national park. We've driven on the highest road, had lunch at the highest cafe, and now we're wrapping this up on what is the highest beach in the Highlands. Karla, what was your highlight? Yeah, so for Karla, a highlight was actually just being at this campsite and being in this location. So we'll wrap this up now by saying thank you so much for watching. Keep subscribing if you want to see more. Keep exploring as well, and we will see you again very soon.